Well, hello there and welcome back to the channel. If you're new here, my name is Emmy and I love to meal plan and meal prep, so welcome to my kitchen. As you would know in this channel, I like doing grocery hauls and meal prepping, but today I wanted to talk to you specifically about the tools that I use, and I'm going to be sharing my 7 favorite kitchen tools and gadgets that I have built up over the years. I did not go out and buy all these in one sitting, and all these things I use weekly. Some of them I use several times a week. So let's get straight into my 7 favorite things that helps me meal prep. Now, before we dive into all the cool gadgets I'm going to share with you today, please make sure to hit the subscribe button down below if you haven't already. It really helps this small but growing channel out and I really appreciate it. And if you wanted to give this video a thumbs up, that would also be awesome. It's completely free for you and it helps me out a lot. Now, let's go. So the very first thing that I use several times a week, every single week, is my knife set right here behind me. And when my husband and I moved in together, probably, gosh, about almost 7 years ago now, we both had a couple of bits and bobs from our kitchens that we used to have before. But we just really found that, we kept looking for another size or another function. So we picked up this knife set at a kitchen warehouse type store. I can't even remember which one exactly. It was one of those outlet type stores. And we got this for a pretty good deal. Now, it was a bit pricey. I would say it was probably about $150 or so. But my husband, his job is to sharpen the knives, so he actually sharpens them on the regular for us, and we look after them really well. We never wash these in the dishwasher. We always wash them by hand and dry them straight away after. And if you do that, your knives will last a really, really long time. Do you need fancy, expensive knives to enjoy your cooking? Of course you don't. You can cook with any blunt old knife that you have, but anyone who's clumsy like me and has cut themselves in the finger with a blunt knife that doesn't cut onion, etc. very well, you know what I mean, right? So good knives certainly help and make it more enjoyable to cook and meal prep and chop salads and things like that. And if you're wondering why I have some knives on the front and some on the back, the ones on the front I use the most often. So I use them pretty much every single week. On the back, we've got the bread knives and another sort of smaller sort of sheary type knife. And I use them a little bit less often, which is why I keep them at the back, a little bit further out of reach. Now, we don't have children, so I don't have to worry too much about the safety aspect of where I store my knives. So next up is my yogurt maker. This is from a brand called Easiyo. This one is from a secondhand shop and I got it with 2 of these containers. One is in the fridge at the moment with yogurt in it, and the machine or the container itself. These are very inexpensive. I will have in my shop link below, you will see I'll have a similar thing linked for you on Amazon, but this saves me so much money and it's so easy to make your own yogurt. Basically, I actually have a video which I will link down below somewhere, but you use some kind of full cream milk powder, shake that up with cold water, mix that up with cold water and put a little bit of a tablespoon or 2 or 3 of your existing yogurt for the yogurt culture. You mix that up in here and then you plonk that with boiling water in here and you let it sit in here. I normally do it for probably about 8 hours or so. But you basically just let this sit on your counter in a warm-ish space or on your bench or whatever for 8 to 12 hours. And you've got yourself some yogurt. And with grocery price at the moment, this bag here I got from Aldi. This was about $10 and this makes probably 5 containers of yogurt, and this is 900 ml when this is full. So 900 ml of yogurt times 5-ish or so, 5 and a bit, is pretty good in my book. So I use this every single week. We love yogurt. We use yogurt often instead of sour cream, with tacos or Mexican dishes because we do the full cream style. So highly recommend if you don't already make your own yogurt and it's something that you eat a lot of in your household, definitely check that one out. Number 3 is a thing you've seen on this channel many a time, especially when I cook chicken, and it is my turbo oven. It's basically a miniature convection oven, kind of like an old school air fryer, I guess. And what you do is that it's got a big glass bowl, and then you put your veggies or your fish or your chicken or whatever that is inside, and then the heat source comes from above. Living in Australia, where it gets pretty dang hot in the summer, I really love this because if I don't want to heat up my whole kitchen and get the oven going in the kitchen, I can even plug this in outside and grill a chicken or something like that without heating up my house, which I totally did a few times this past summer. This is such a lovely, easy way to cook. I picked this particular model up on Facebook Marketplace or something. I think I paid, I don't know, less than $20 for it. So you can definitely find them secondhand for not very much, but I will have a similar thing linked down below from Amazon if you are interested in checking that out. I use this maybe not every week, definitely every second week or so, and primarily for chicken, vegetables. And the model I have actually has 2 little racks in it, so you can cook kind of veggies on one level, and you can have like a little foil packet of salmon fillets or something on the other level. So because my husband and I are just 2 people in this household, it's actually quite easy to use this to cook up a full dinner. Next up is a not so little friend that is fairly new to the family, which is my Instant Pot Duo Plus. This is the larger size, and my husband kindly gifted this to me totally out of the blue. He found it on special. I think he got it off Amazon. I will have a link down below for this model. But I use this all the time. This replaced the slow cooker we had that broke, the pressure cooker pot that we had. Someone gifted us like an old pressure cooker stove pot thing. But the great thing about these is that you can cook rice, you can cook pulled pork, you can do soups, stews, all sorts of things. So I do a lot of pulled pork and things like that. I cooked up chicken breast fillets in this the other week, and they turned out pretty good. You can make all sorts of things. It actually even has it's got an oatmeal porridge setting, which I have never used because I'm not big into oatmeal. And it's got a yogurt setting. Have you got one of these? And if so, have you made yogurt in it? Let me know, because I obviously use my Easiyo yogurt maker, which I really like. But let me know in the comments down there below if you are using this and if it's been helpful for you. These sort of things are not cheap, so I would really recommend you do similar to what my husband probably did when he surprised me. Keep an eye out for the sales, and you can usually get them at a pretty good deal. And obviously you can go for a smaller model than this. Like even for 2 people, this is pretty large, but it is really nice when you do like a big batch of something and freeze things, etc. Next up is possibly one of the most used and important gadgets in our house, which is my coffee machine. This little friend has been with me for probably 3 or 4 years, and prior to that I had a similar model but another brand, which I can't remember exactly what it was. This type of coffee is a filter coffee, sort of pour over style rather than the espresso or the pod style. And you might not know if you're new to the channel, but I was born and raised in Sweden and lived there until my 20s, and then I traveled the world and ended up here in Australia about 15 years ago. So when my husband and I met, my husband wasn't all that familiar with this type of coffee, but I won him over pretty quickly because it's very easy. You can put on anywhere between 4 and 12 cups at the same time. So if you're hosting, or in the morning if you want to make coffee, we normally have 2 cups each in the morning before we get to work. So for us, putting on 4 cups at the same time and then going back to bed and having a coffee and having a chat is really, really nice, and it's a big part of our morning routine. And for me, it's also a little slice of home. It's got a way of just sort of spreading the coffee smell in the house in the morning, and it's something that I personally really enjoy, and it reminds me of where I grew up. So this bad boy as well has saved us a lot of money, because naturally if you have takeaway cups of any description, we have a range of them in this household, some of them from events, some of them we've bought. And the great thing is if you make the coffee that you like to make and bring it with you rather than do takeaway on your way to work, school or whatever, you will save a lot of money as well. Next up is the newest addition to my kitchen gadget family. And again, this one was not cheap, but we did buy this on sale just before Christmas. And it's our Ninja blender / food processor. We used to just have those, you know, stick blenders and things like that has like a stick blender and a whisk and a couple of other things on it. But our stick blender broke, and my husband does a fair bit of smoothies and things like that for after exercising, like protein smoothies and stuff. And he wanted to get a blender for that, and I said, what about something that can also slice and grate things? Because as you know, here on the channel I do quite a lot of things that have grated cheese, grated zucchini, grated carrot. And even though I can use my trusty old hand grater from IKEA that I've had probably for 10 plus years now, it totally works, but it just takes a lot longer. So he did his research and he found this particular model, which I will have the same or a similar one linked below in the shop link in my description box. But this has saved me so much time. What would take me, you know, to grate zucchini, for example, for my zucchini slice would normally take, you know, maybe 10 plus minutes just to grate it. I can literally do it now in like 1 to 2 minutes. So for me, that is a game changer, and it has really lifted my meal prepping game, and it's taken away one of those chores that I don't enjoy. It's also really great for slicing things. I've used it for salads, all sorts of things like that. We use it, actually has a coffee grinder attachment that we use every single morning for coffee beans, to grind our own beans. So again, it's not something you need to have, but it's something I didn't realize that I should have gotten sooner, because it saves me a lot of time and it's really enjoyable to use. I'm still learning about it, so if you have a Ninja blender and you have some really good hacks or things that you make with that blender, let me know down there in the comments, because I'm always looking for new things to use my fancy gadgets for. Similar to the Instant Pot, do look out for, you know, Black Friday sales, Christmas sales, Amazon Prime Day, things like that. You will find discount things for this from time to time. We paid $200 something for this, but we bought it in December, and I have used it, well, daily for the coffee grinder and probably at least once a week for meal prepping since then. So definitely worth the investment, and I'm very happy we got it. And last but not least, pots and pans. Now, my pots and pans do not match. I have a range of different kinds of pots and fry pans for different things. We did purchase a set of fry pans and pots that we have used quite a lot, but I did find that sometimes when you buy a set, it doesn't come with everything that you use all the time. So some of my absolute favorites in the kitchen that I use all the time is the Dutch oven. This particular one I got for free on a local Pay It Forward group on Facebook. So I picked it up, it was for free. This is just the oldie version, so it's not a fancy one, but it works really well, and I use it quite a lot for soups and stews and things like that. I've got a cast iron fry pan. We use this all the time for omelets. We take it camping with us. It is a really, really great tool, and it's also awesome because you can obviously put it in the oven as well as use it on a stovetop. So really love that one. I always make sure as well to have a small fry pan, a large fry pan, because sometimes if you're just cooking one egg, it's nice to use a smaller one. Whereas if you're making a bigger meal, obviously the large one is great. I also always make sure that I have a large, what I call pasta pot. So not my Dutch oven, but a larger pot that's big enough for me to boil pasta for 2 to 4 people in, and a smaller one that I often use for, say, eggs and stuff like that. So I've built this up over time. They don't match, they don't have to match, but all of them have a really clear purpose in my kitchen, and I use them all the time. So those are the 7 things, or 7 categories of things that I use all the time at meal planning, and they do make it a lot easier, a lot faster, and a lot more enjoyable. And I personally do think that that's something worth spending a little bit of time and money on. You can also think of it this way: even if, say, an Instant Pot would cost you a couple of $100s, think about how many meals out you would have to not have to buy yourself an Instant Pot and be able to cook a lot more easily at home. So sometimes we just have to transfer the cost of something in our head to the convenience that it will give us, the health benefits it might give us, and the money we will save by being able to cook our own stuff. And naturally, this is something you can build up over time. Whatever gadgets and tools that you like to have, maybe you love baking bread and a bread maker is a high priority for you. or you love your espresso coffee and milk frother, in which case absolutely get that. But remember that you can build this up over time. That Ninja blender, I have wanted a similar thing, or some kind of food processing thing. I've wanted something like that for probably 2 years now, so I'm really glad we finally made that happen. But do remember, you don't have to go and build it all overnight. You can take it one step at a time. And it's really, really cool when you start to see the time saving that these things can help you with, and how much more fun it is to work in the kitchen with the right tools. Now, I want to hear from you. Let me know down there in the comments section what your top gadgets or tools are in your kitchen that you use all the time. I love hearing from you all and hearing you share some of your best tips so we can all learn together. I hope you have a fantastic week, and I'll look forward to see you in the next video on Sunday in a week's time.